You know that feeling? Features are out the door, the roadmap looks like it's humming along, and your team's velocity is looking really good. Feels great, right?
Yeah, it feels like progress.
But here's the question I keep coming back to. Did all that activity, all that busyness, actually make a real difference for the people using the product?
That's the big one, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's so easy to get caught up in the cycle of just shipping. We forget to look up and ask, are we actually solving the right problem here?
Right. We fall into that trap of celebrating the output, how much stuff we pushed out, instead of looking at the actual outcomes for our users.
Exactly. You measure what's easy to measure sometimes.
And we feel good. We see those story points burning down, releases going out on time. But maybe it's just motion, not momentum. Like we're digging really fast, but maybe in the wrong spot entirely.
Mm-hmm.
It actually reminds me of that quote, I think it was Alexander Solzhenitsyn. We have lost the concept of truth and replaced it with statistical success.
Kind of stings, doesn't it? When you think about how easily output metrics can fool us. It really does.
Yeah.
Because you can have these fantastic reports, features shipped, deployments per week. Looks great on paper.
Totally.
But if users aren't getting more value, if their behavior isn't changing in a good way, what have we really achieved? It's like running a really fast race, but in completely the wrong direction.
So that's exactly what we want to dive deep into today. How do we get past this illusion of progress? We're going to be digging into the article, Metrics That Matter, Stop Measuring What You Shipped by Sam Robertstad. It was on the Product Leaders Playbook.
Yeah, it's a great piece. Robertstad lays out a really practical way to shift focus. Instead of just counting outputs, he talks about this L.E.A.D framework. It's all about understanding and measuring real impact by looking at user behavior.
Okay, this illusion of progress, I think many of us feel this. Why are we so drawn to output metrics like story points, release frequency, even when we kind of know they don't tell the whole story?
Mm-hmm.
What's the pull?
Well, I think part of it is just that they're tangible, right?
Yeah.
Story points give you a number, burn down charts give you a nice visual slope downwards.
Yeah, it feels concrete.
Release frequency feels like you're doing something. They're relatively easy to track, internally focused. They offer a sense of control, maybe, in what can feel like a pretty chaotic process.
That makes sense. Control.
Yeah.
But like Robertstad points out, they're really about internal efficiency, aren't they? They don't tell us if the thing we built efficiently is actually, hitting the mark with users.
Precisely. And he has this quote, most teams don't suffer from a lack of data. They suffer from a lack of insight.
Yeah.
We might be swimming in output data.
Oh, yeah.
But it doesn't mean we understand the impact. It's like having a pantry full of ingredients but no recipe, and crucially, no idea if anyone's actually hungry for what you might cook.
Huh. I like that. And there's that other analogy he uses. Output is how fast the machine's running. Outcome is whether it's pointed the right way.
Yeah.
I've definitely been there. Celebrating hitting a deadline for something that, well, ultimately didn't really move the needle much. It's an easy trap.
It really is. And if you're only looking at the speedometer, you might completely miss that you're speeding towards a dead end. If we don't understand how users are actually interacting with what we ship, their actions, where they get stuck, what they achieve, we're basically flying blind.
Right. We're not learning.
We're not learning. It's like shouting into the void and just hoping someone answers back eventually.
So we're stuck in this build, ship, repeat cycle, but without the crucial feedback loop, like doing surgery without checking the patient's vitals.
Exactly. And to break that cycle, Robertstad really stresses you need the right foundation. It's not just about wanting to track outcomes. You need the technical infrastructure to actually see them.
Okay, so building that foundation, if we're serious about shifting to outcomes, what does that infrastructure look like? Practically speaking, what are the key bits we need?
Well, it's a technical shift as much as a mindset one. You have to systematically observe user behavior. So Robertstad outlines a few key things. First, event tracking. You need to be able to identify and capture those meaningful user actions as they happen in the product.
So the clicks, the form fills, the things people actually do.
Exactly that. Then you need data collection tools, SDKs, little JavaScript snippets, maybe integrations to actually funnel that event data somewhere.
Okay.
And then naturally, data storage. You need reliable, scalable places to keep both the raw event data and the more structured process stuff.
Makes sense. Can analyze what you haven't kept. What's next after collecting and storing?
Then comes data processing. This is where you clean it, transform it, make it usable, organize it so you can start pulling out insights, and really importantly, data visualization.
Turning the numbers into pictures.
Pretty much. Dashboards, charts, ways to actually see the patterns in user behavior. If it's just rows of data, it's hard to grasp what's going on.
Yeah, you need to make it visible.
Right. And finally, reporting tools to analyze those visuals over time and tell the story of your impact. He also mentions event-driven architectures, things like webhooks, triggers, which help with more real-time scalable tracking.
That sounds like a significant setup. Robertstad mentioned some specific tools too, right? Like Mixpanel, Amplitude for analytics, Segment for routing data, Snowflake or BigQuery for storage, Looker or Metabase for visualization.
He does. It gives you a starting point, which is helpful. But the core principle he hammers home is you can't manage what you can't measure, and you can't measure what you can't see. That foundation is non-negotiable for outcome-driven work.
Okay, so let's assume we've built the foundation, we have the plumbing, we can see what users are doing. Now, how do we actually measure the outcomes? This is where L.E.A.D comes in, right? What's the big idea here?
The big idea, like Robertstad puts it, is moving from tracking activity to understanding behavior. It's a shift. Instead of focusing on what we shipped, we focus on how user actions changed because of it. Success, in this view, is about seeing real changes, users doing new things, being more engaged, reaching their goals better.
So it's tangible impact on the people using the product. Okay, L.E.A.D is an acronym. Let's break it down. L is for learnings. What are we trying to figure out here?
Learnings is all about, are we uncovering new insights? Did we actually validate the problem before we jump to building the solution? What are users telling us, qualitatively and quantitatively, now that the feature is live?
Okay.
A metric could be, say, the percentage of your features that were directly informed by validated user problems. It's about making sure you're building the right thing.
That makes total sense. Aim before you fire. Okay, next is E for engagement. What does meaningful engagement look like?
Engagement is about our users interacting in valuable ways. Are sessions getting longer, deeper, more frequent? Are they coming back to use a key feature? Are they exploring more?
So not just logging in, but doing stuff.
Exactly. Metrics here could be time to key action, how often they return to a specific workflow, maybe session depth. Are we actually holding their attention and providing value?
Right. Then we have A for adoption. How is that different from engagement?
Adoption goes a bit deeper. It's about whether new features are becoming part of the user's regular routine, their workflow. Are they sticking with it over time? Is it becoming a habit?
Okay. Stickiness.
Yeah, stickiness. So you might track the percentage of active users in a cohort who are still using that feature weeks later, or look at long-term retention for adopters. It's about lasting value.
Got it. Not just a one-off try, but integrating it. And finally, D is for decisions. What's the focus there?
Decisions is about empowerment. Is our product helping users make better choices or achieve better outcomes? Are they completing tasks more easily? Are they making smarter decisions based on the insights we provide? Are they actually getting closer to their goals using our tool? Metrics could be task success rates, conversion through key flows, or maybe even indicators showing they're using our data effectively. It's really about their success.
Okay, let me quickly recap. L, learnings, understanding the user. E, engagement, meaningful interaction. A, adoption, making it a habit. D, decisions enabling better outcomes. And I love that quote Robertstad uses, shipping is a milestone, adoption is a metric. Really hits home.
It really does. And he also makes the point that, look, not every feature needs to hit all 4 letters of L.E.A.D, but every single release should have a clear idea, a hypothesis about which one it will impact. We should always ask, how will this change user behavior for the better?
Right, have intention behind it. Okay, this framework sounds super useful, but when should we actually use it? Like in the day-to-day grind, where does it provide the most value?
Robertstad points to a few key moments, definitely during planning and prioritization. Framing discussions around potential L.E.A.D impact helps make much clearer choices about why you're building something.
Instead of just what?
Exactly. Also, when you're about to launch something new, define what success looks like in L.E.A.D terms before it goes live. That gives you a benchmark.
Makes sense. So you know what you're measuring against later.
Right. And it's huge for things like OKR or quarterly roadmap reviews. You can talk about actual impact on users, not just features shipped. Plus, it's essential for evaluating past bets. Did that big feature we launched last year actually drive the adoption we expected?
Looking back critically.
Yes. And obviously, in roadmap prioritization meetings, comparing initiatives based on their likely L.E.A.D impact. And finally, it really helps build alignment across teams' product, design, engineering, focusing everyone on the same user outcomes.
So basically, anytime you're asking, how will we know if this worked? L.E.A.D gives you a structure to answer that with user behavior in mind.
Precisely. It moves you from gut feel to, hopefully, a more data-informed understanding of impact.
Okay, let's make it even more real. Can we walk through some of those examples Robertstad gives? See how L.E.A.D plays out in different situations?
Yeah, absolutely. Take an e-commerce site that adds personalized recommendations. Instead of just tracking, did we display the recommendations, which is pure output.
Right.
With L.E.A.D, you'd look at adoption. What percentage of people actually click them? You check engagement. How many recs do they look at per session? Are they even noticing? And crucially, decisions. What's the conversion rate from clicking a recommendation to actually buying something?
So you're tying it directly to buying behavior, the real goal, not just the feature existing.
Exactly. Or think about a mobile app redesign focusing on streamlined onboarding.
Yeah.
You might use learnings first research where people drop off in the old flow.
And the friction.
Find the friction. Then, for the new flow, track adoption. What percentage finish onboarding now? And engagement. How quickly do they get to their first meaningful action in the app afterwards? Are they activating faster?
So success isn't just pretty screens, it's seamless activation and getting to value.
Precisely. One more, a B2B SaaS tool adding an advanced reporting module. You'd use learnings from interviews about pain points with old reports. Then, track adoption. How many people use the new dashboard weekly? But maybe more importantly, decisions. What percentage say they're now making better business decisions based on this new data?
Wow, yeah. That's powerful. It's not just about giving them more charts, it's about whether those charts actually help them run their business better. That's the real value prop.
Exactly. The examples show how L.E.A.D helps connect the dots between what we build and actual measurable changes in how users succeed.
Now, Robertstad also talks about using L.E.A.D during prioritization. How does focusing on these outcomes help us decide what to build next?
It just reframes the whole conversation. It moves it from being internal tasks, deadlines, does this fit the OKR, to external. What impact will this have on our users? How will their behavior change?
Okay, so instead of just saying this supports Q3 OKRs.
Right, which is still kind of vague, output-ish. Using L.E.A.D, you might say, we've seen adoption drop off here. This initiative aims to fix that by simplifying the flow, and will measure success by the increase in users completing this step. See, specific behavioral change.
Yeah, much clearer.
Or someone might say, let's run a small experiment first to get some learnings on whether users actually struggle here before we commit to building that big integration. It focuses on validating the need first.
I like that. Less about just ticking boxes, more about understanding the why and the intended impact.
Exactly. Or you might argue this feature could unlock a key behavior that boosts both engagement and helps users make better decisions, which we think will drive long-term value. It connects the work directly to the E&D. It just elevates the discussion beyond the feature factory mindset.
It really sounds like adopting L.E.D isn't just about metrics. It's a whole mindset shift, isn't it? From outputs to outcomes, delivery to impact.
That's a great way to put it. Robertstad really emphasizes this. It means prioritizing learning before launching, making sure we're solving real problems.
Right.
It means tracking meaningful engagement, not just vanity clicks. Measuring adoption as proof of relevance, is it sticking? And designing for user decisions and outcomes, not just feature navigation.
It really brings it back to that final thought from Robertstad. Because at the end of the day, it is not what you shipped that matters. It is what's stuck. That really lands.
It does. It's a forcing function. Makes you honest about whether your work is truly resonating and creating lasting value.
So for everyone listening, maybe take a moment to think about this in your own context. How are you actually measuring success right now? What metrics have genuinely helped you prove impact beyond just shipping velocity?
Yeah, and where do you feel maybe stuck tracking motion instead of momentum? Where are you just measuring the activity?
And thinking about this L.E.A.D framework, learnings, engagement, adoption, decisions, which part resonates most with the challenges or opportunities you're facing right now?
It's worth reflecting on. Consider how a consistent focus on user behavior, maybe using a framework like this, could really change your product strategy and ultimately the real value you deliver.